motherfucker. We just a holographic projection. My question is, in the movie The Matrix, I've heard Bruce Lipton said, that ain't no movie, that's a documentary. That ain't no movie, that ain't entertainment. So in the movie, Neo was this Zion projecting himself in the Matrix, head laid back like this, thing on his head, and they was coming to Zion to attack him, to kill him in the Matrix. Now, when we get attacked down here, a lot of the times we think that somebody down here is attacking us. Now, we have a higher self projecting ourselves down here. Are we beefing in another realm? Is our higher self getting attacked in another realm when we feel pain and agony and despair down here? Does it have nothing to do with this realm, but our higher self in another realm is getting attacked by some MFer? Is that what's going on if The Matrix is a documentary, Billy and Rod?
Man, well, I believe that our higher self is in a higher dimension, right, and above even the highest dimension, on the outside of this entire multiverse, is maybe base reality, the source of the creation of possibly even the very first of the many, many universe that actually exist. And, so when we're being attacked down here, understanding that our body is in the matrix, this physical body, this corporeal body that we know in the third density exists in this matrix, in my opinion, it's quite possible that the attack itself is also an illusion. Not meaning that you don't feel physical pain, not meaning that you don't feel mental illness or mental strife or mental pain, or go through things in this life, because we do. But this universe, in my opinion, is possibly a testing ground. It's a testing ground for the spirit, for the soul, and also a proving ground and a learning place for the consciousness. You see, I think that the mass consciousness that exists throughout the entire multiverse is experiencing itself subjectively through individual atoms, not just through people, but through each individual atom that exists. So it wants to know what it's like to be Billy Carson, but it also wants to know what is it like to be a blade of grass? What is it like to be an atom inside this cell phone device that I'm holding up? What is it like to be an atom inside this microwave, inside this microphone? Wherever atoms exist. When human beings don't build anything, we don't create anything. We just know how to stack atoms in a particular format like Legos that allows us to get some type of use out of them. But we don't create the atom. So saying something is man-made is actually a wrong statement. When we say that when we have babies, right? What's happening is this nanotechnology goes in and begins to stack atoms in a format that allows a quote unquote human being to come out. Right. And again, the human being itself is nothing more than a group of stacked atoms. If I was to take an electron microscope and look at an atom on a slide, I'm nothing more than a bunch of atoms observing itself. Now take that to as above, so below. The universe itself as a whole is doing the same exact thing. It's observing itself through us, right? We are the sensory perception of the universe itself as a whole, and we are gathering data and gathering information, just like our mind is gathering data and gathering information on a consistent basis. Sometimes these attacks come to see what is the result going to be of this? Is this version of me going to react properly or inappropriately? Is this version of me going to be able to resolve this situation or find solutions? Is this version of me going to suffer from PTSD, or is it going to suffer from PTG, post-traumatic growth? What's going to happen here, and how many times do I have to experience this before this matrix itself solves the problem? Right. And the problem is, how do we alchemically convert darkness into light? So I think this is all part of a mass experiment, and we're living inside of this actual experiment. And I don't think we're close to base reality, not even close. We are just in one of probably Google's of universes and multiverses that exist throughout this sea of infinite life.
Rob, you want to add on to that, my brother? No, you're on mute. Rod, I can't hear you. You're on mute.
I got you. So, I'm listening to Brother Carson. I just love listening to him. But the whatever is going on, we know this. We know that the particulates of the atom, the that's smaller than cells is made up of light.
Right.
We know that all of the religions of the world say that creation started with light, right? The Big Bang, I think that's when the hologram came on.
Okay.
Right. And the reason why I say that is because what most of us don't see when you hit the light switch is you get a spark from the connection making.
Woo-hoo. Okay. Okay. Oh,
Right.
Right.
So we tracing creation back to the Big Bang. Right. But wherever the Big Bang came from, something was already there. You can't bang nothing that ain't there.
Exactly.
So this is what we call dark matter, the primordial noon, or the sacred waters of creation in which all things come.
Yes.
Right? So you hear people talk love and light, and I have to constantly remind them, yeah, but you got to remember both the love and the light came forth and proceed from triple darkness. Right? Because the love works in the darkness to create the avatar in the womb. Right? Now, when you copulate, when Brother Billy mentioned when you having a baby, these two avatars come together. When the RNA split and recombine in the fetal cells, that's data transfer. That's the mother side of the family's information becoming acclimated to the father side of the information to determine what kind of rover do we need to meet the qualifications from both sides of these equation. Right? So when we looking at it, we look at it from the physical self as the primary self, and all of our senses is to support the physical self. That's delusional and childish thinking when it comes to science, right? Because epigenetics tell you that wherever we at, we ain't in this body because the cells got them little antennas on the outside of them called membranes that receive the information to communicate to the DNA helix, and the DNA helix gonna siphon whatever it needs from the mitochondrial energy source, which is a battery.
Right.
Every single cell got its own battery. What do you need a battery for? Right? We're not looking at it. It's got to be mechanical, a machine to require a battery to operate.
Yes.
Right? So wherever we at, we projecting here. My suspicion is the Dark Knight satellite in the moon, because the moon ain't always been there. Right, and that motherfucker take off. That motherfucker something ain't right with that motherfucker. It's a whole ship. That motherfucker will take off, and you will look up and be like, damn, what happened to the moon? I was just looking at a whole full moon and it's just gone. Right? But whatever confronted must not be serious enough for the moon to move. But there's some shit going on up there. I can't see it with the naked eye. But my third eye keeps seeing shit all over the sky. I'm like, what the fuck is this? Why we can't see it with the naked eye? So there's something going on. So it's like two things happening, layered on top of each other. And I believe that's dimensional layers. What we can't see in the 3D realm, because it hasn't materialized three-dimensionally yet.
You know, we hear so much about this third eye, which is really our first eye. Is there such thing? Like we have a picture of the eye, and then they show the part of the brain that's the third eye, and it looks like the eye within the brain, and it's the third eye. It talks about fractals a lot. There's also pictures of the ear, and then they have a picture of a baby being born, and the fetus is curled up like how the ear is curled up. So my question to you would be, if there's a third eye, is there also a third ear? I know Plato talked about something about the music of the spheres. Is there something that's called the third ear that allows us to hear the vibration and frequencies that exist way beyond our senses, like our eyes allow us to see way beyond our senses?
We don't call it the third ear, though. We don't identify the organ or the sensory perception tool we using. We only identify that we hear it by a term that they call clairaudient. Okay. So you hearing all that shit you saying, the song of the spheres, and you get, when you was talking about earlier about making the music, and the music is light converted into sound.